So today I have a Jaedong game for you. We're on Vermeer. This is a ladder game played around March of 2023, and he's playing against probably my favorite Protoss player. It is Best. So honestly, Jaedong probably isn't the player he once was. I watched a cast of CNSC not too long ago where Jaedong played a series against Bisu, and it looked like Bisu was just in another class. And I think using Bisu specifically to make the comment that Jaedong maybe isn't as good as he once was is fair, because they're from the same era. So I'm not comparing a Snow to a Jaedong or players that maybe played, peaked at slightly different times in their careers. Jaedong and Bisu were both at the peak of their powers at more or less the same time. And don't get me wrong, I think he's still very good. But he's just not nearly the player that he was. But I still have heaps of admiration for the way he interacts with fans, the fact that he streams and we get to still watch him play, and that he's just had such unbelievable longevity in the game. So it's always fun to bring a Jaedong game. Best, many consider him to be somebody that's probably just underachieved in terms of his potential. He made it to the semi-finals of ASL 15. I was so hoping he would make the final. To lose against Mind in the semi-finals just made me so damn sad. He's just incredibly good, incredibly creative, and a very, very fun player to watch, and does a lot of guides and coaching and stuff like that, which I think is really, really cool. Anyway, I don't think I did introduce myself. I'm Rabbit Roo. I am a casual Broodwar caster. I cast games whenever I have time. I run my own business. I travel a lot for that business. I have heaps of other stuff happening in my life. I'm not a pro. You will tell I'm not a pro for a number of reasons. Number one, my casts are relatively bad. And number two, they are quite infrequent. But I've got 500 plus subscribers on YouTube. And I've been around for around a year, a little bit less than that maybe. But I do this because I love this game and because it's a lot of fun. And I find the feedback and being a part of the community very, very rewarding. And so that's what I'm here. I'm not here to win any prizes or gold plaques or any sort of recognition. I'm just here to have a good time. And I hope you are as well. So Jaedong's got 3 hatches down sub 3 minutes. So very much a macro start, which is his style. Best seeing that it's quite macro-centric. He's going to continue to send his Zealots across the map. With his gateway expansion strategy that he's gone for, which is going to force a fair amount of lings out of our Zerg. I hope the supply block doesn't end up being too much of a pain. This Overlord is a bit late, but his micro is more than decent, pulling a couple of drones to help as well. The Zealot's going to get in here and probably just see the lair, which is I think what Best wants to see. And yeah, it's more than gets far enough into the base to confirm. Okay, so it is a lair opening. It is 3 hatches. This Zealot's going to go and find the 3rd hatch and be like, okay, so it's 3 hatch lair. Probably going to be some Scourge to block the Corsairs. And then from there, I expect the game would just normalize. All right, so it is a Forge behind this. And then probably a cannon. Maybe if he's feeling greedy. Oh, he is feeling greedy. He's snuck in his Cybernetics core before the Forge. So this really, really does usually put our Protoss into a very, very strong position. So you can see he's got 23 workers. He's getting going. We're probably going to see the tech tree progression from here. But gets the cannon down. We'll keep an eye on how quickly the second gas goes down, because that kind of tells if it's going to be a Zealot Corsair build, or if it's going to be like a Templar type build. So we'll keep an eye on that as we progress. No quick +1 tells me it's probably going to be a little bit more of a Templar type build. The screen just feels so weird. I've set it on about 3 of my casts because I'm doing like it's a Sunday afternoon and I'm just doing a whole bunch because I've got some time and I am in the mood. And I've been looking at my screen. I haven't done this for a little while. And I just feel like it feels too big. There's just too much Starcraft on my screen. But I've pushed F6, which is the standard view. And this is what it is. So I just think I'm going nuts, which is very, very possible. Thank you for hanging out with a crazy person. Okay, so we are going up to 2 hatch lair with a spire. So are we going to get some mooders? I would say no, because we've only got 1 gas. Alright, so we're going to get 3 hatches, and then we're probably going to make a few Scourge, and then we are going to send some Hydras across the map, is my prediction. Best sensing that it's going to be a Hydra build, builds a blind second cannon. When I say it's blind, am I talking crap? Because, no, there goes the first Corsair. So it is a safety second cannon. It does give him the freedom to potentially move out a little bit onto the map if he so chooses to. Is getting +1 ground, is getting +1 air. So this does definitely seem to be a bit of a Zealot Corsair start. And then he might transition into Templars from there. The Citadel is on the way. We'll keep an eye on when he starts the Templar Archives. Usually 6:30 is a good metric for when the Templar Archive starts, so that the Protoss has got Storm in time for a potential Hydra bust. Okie dokie. So our Zealots are just getting some exercise, stretching their legs, and then they're going to go back saying, no guys, it's cardio Thursday tomorrow. It's just chilling Wednesday today. So we're just going to go down here and stretch our legs a bit, but then we're going to stay well in range of home. Jaedong, somehow sensing that the Zealots have decided to go do some cardio, has a quick look and see, well, should I harass these two cannons? He thinks better of it because he's like, okay, well, if I do that and they all die, who's going to stop the Zealots if they decide to just go crazy and walk to the other side of Vermeer is the question. So Scourge have flown in to confirm, what's happening here. He does build a pylon in case he does need mineral line cannons, and it is a transition into mutas, which suddenly we're a 3-gassing Zerg, so it could well be, and there come the mutas. So snuck it up on us a little bit, but it is a Ling Muta build. Does best actually block the for got that Templar Archives beautifully on time, by the way. 5 Corsairs with +1 tells me yes, he does indeed block this. It doesn't have cannons to defend him from the mutilous harassment, but based on this number, he doesn't need it. I just think if he positions the Corsairs over here, they'll be in range to fire on the mutas, and the Scourge will be hit by cannons. So I think I like Best's position here a lot. Jaedong is somewhat committed to making something happen here. There are no... Well, there's one. I was going to say there are no cannons in the main, but there is one. Okay. This is the Protoss song. So honestly, I've done 3 back-to-back, and I've got the different song. I had the Terran song for the first game, lost a couple of Corsairs there. A Zerg song for the second game, which was a Soma game, and now the Protoss song for the third. And I must say, my Protoss song is my least favorite. So I've now made a call on that. The competition is between the Zerg song and the Terran song as for what's the best song in Starcraft. Give me your votes, please. I'd love to hear it. Oh dear, this DT is wrecking some stuff, but the Overlord's there. And I don't know if Best is actually getting very much achieved with that attack at all. And now this Corsair is running back home like, run! So what have we got here? We've got a Templar and a Zealot, and that's it. So, I mean, if Jaedong just A moves all his stuff across here, unless Best produces the most like godlike storms I've ever seen, he's going to be in a bit of trouble here. Does have 4-gate production, I guess that's helpful. Is getting range in play. Where's your robotics facility? I don't think because Jaedong went mutas, he's too concerned about lurkers as of yet. So the goons are probably just to fight the mutas. The cannons are eventually going to kill these Hex. So Jaedong's now going up to a 4th base. And it's got some Hydras out and about. Staying active with these mutas. He's always had incredibly fast APM. Best, I must say, as a Protoss player, an elite Protoss player, so one of the best. One of the best, see what I did there? Has probably got the highest APM of top Protoss players. He plays at 400 now in the mid game. That's insane. I mean, Snow at this stage of the game is at 250. Rain, about 250. Mini, I don't know actually. I haven't watched that many mini games. We'll keep an eye on that if we do a mini game soon. Okay, so this is 113 plays 102. Usually, Zergs do pretty well in fights where the supplies are close because it's one supply per unit. So things like Hydras are very, very efficient. We have Dragoons. Where's our Storm? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so we've got 2 Templars. If the Templars die, Best is screwed. All I'm going to say is watch Snow against Killer. And then you tell me if my theory that if your Templars die, it's over, is a good theory or a bad theory. Okay, so this is building up to a snipe. This is building up to a snipe. So he's going to... My prediction, although I'm going to look like an idiot now, is he's going to try and target down the Templars and then jump on everything with Hydralisks. Am I wrong? And I also talked up how bad Jaedong is and how he can't beat any elite players. Best is definitely an elite player. I think I'm going to end up eating my words here, man. Here we go. So here come the mutas. They dive in on top of the Templars, but he sacrifices all of those mutas. The Templar lives though. He's got energy for Storm. Is there enough Hydras here is the question. 120 plays 132. The first Storm comes out. The second Storm comes out. Dodges a little bit though. Where is the rest of Jaedong? Here he comes here. So he's kind of flanked this from 2 sides. So now Best is forced to fight from this angle and this angle. This is a flank. Protoss has got no chance here. This is Dragoons. This Templar's got no energy. So I think this Hydra bust with the flank and the mutas picking off the Templars is going to work. Best GG's. Jaedong gives him a solid hiding, and the strategy from Zergs to build mutas, to pick off the High Templars, and then to flank with mass Hydras is really, really gaining some traction. That was absolutely beautiful. So it was a little bit quick. I've got a surprise for you. Because I said I haven't watched a mini game in a while, I've got a mini game for you. So stay around for that. Okay, so we're on Fighting Spirit, and it is Mini versus Chosenless Zerg. I don't know what the heck that's supposed to mean, and I don't know if this is like a famous, well-known player or not. What you will notice is that we have switched songs. We have moved away from the somewhat dreadful Protoss song, and we are now playing the Zerg song. So, Mini, known as an absolutely brilliant Protoss player who plays too risky or too aggressive in competitions, which is why he is considered a chronic underachiever. So somebody who should probably have won and achieved way more in this game than what he has to date. So it doesn't mean that me as an avid Protoss enthusiast is not always supporting him to do better in the very next competition that he plays. And obviously I'm rooting for him to do well in ASL 16. So our Chosenless Zerg has done the gas extractor trick and gone with a pretty quick pull. And our Mini has just opened Gateway, which is exactly the same as what Best did against Jaedong. I do like if I do sneaky twofers that don't consist of the same players. At least it's the same match. So we've got a couple of PVZs now. And that's always fun. So let's see what we get. So it's going to be a pretty quick amount of lings, and then right after that he's going to take his hatch. So basically that's the standard 6 ling pressure, and then transition into macro from our Zerg. And our Protoss is going to hopefully build and be able to hold the line with a handful of Zealots. This is probably one of the main reasons why lower level players don't open Gateway against Zerg, because they don't have the micro to continue with their build and fight against this. So Mini's got a lot of experience. He knows he doesn't sacrifice an awful lot by building the forge and walling this in. He knows that it's going to be an absolute nightmare to try and hold this position and this position with only 2 Zealots, because this is not tight with 1. He would need some support from probes. And instead of pulling a whole heap of probes, he just delays the Nexus slightly. So it was a bit of a spread by the Zerg. So it's 3 lings have arrived. The other 3 were just because he didn't know where Mini was. All he knew that he wasn't bottom left. So he had to send 3 to the top and 3 to the left and 3 to the right. And I think Mini's held this beautifully. Maintaining his composure. He's going to throw down his Nexus now. And these 2 remaining Lings are not much of a threat. So certainly a very good opening for Mini. He could probably throw down a cannon now as well. There it is. That's not a cannon. It's another pylon. But I think his cannon's not too far away. And then he will have absolutely nothing to be concerned about. In fact, if he so chose, he could probably get out onto the map a little bit. So this is why what I said, it's a transition build. The reason why I say that is because the Zerg basically stopped making Lings and got himself up to 3 hatches. Now that his 3rd hatch is incoming, he's going to make a few more. And I think it's necessary because if Mini just decides to move across the map with 4 or 5 Zealots, he's going to need Lings to defend him. As the Zerg, so that's why he's making a few, just so he can continue to run around the map, scout what's happening, and put some pressure on the Protoss, and of course block any Zealot harassment, which is a main reason why Protosses do the Gateway Expand build, is to try and harass the Zerg to slow down the drone production. Alright, so how well timed was this worker transfer? I think he was slightly early with 1, 2, 3. But then he pulls them in, hits the C button, and back they go, returning their cargo. That's quite a big transfer of workers, actually. Usually you only transfer about 4 or 5, but it was a bit of a later Nexus. Okay, so the big question we all have is the tech tree from our Protoss. I mean, at this level, it's actually become so standard to do Stargate. It's actually like freaky if you don't see it at all. We've got Slowlings. We've got, where's our Hydrogen? No, we're getting a lair. And we are getting more drones. So we're just droning at the moment. We got our Ling speed. And Ling speed is going to be how Zerg holds any Zealot pressure. +1 is on its way. And air weapons as well. So I think we'll see a little bit of a commitment to Corsair harassment from Mini. Which is very much the meta. Doesn't matter like who you are as a Protoss. If you don't play this style at this level, the Zergs are just probably so good at beating you that you don't have much of a choice. So Spire is coming in. So that is the tech tree from the Zerg. Not really pushing Hydras. Probably the idea is just for Scourge to counter the Corsairs. But now he's going to have to micro that pot of Zerglings that he's been accumulating slowly over the opening of the game. I think this Ling would have spotted these Zealots. Yeah, definitely, because here come these Lings as well. And this is going to be a hatchery. So we'll see a little bit of drilling and a little bit of micro. 2 Zealots here is really not going to be much of a threat, especially with speed, because these Lings will be able to surround, which is exactly what we see here. So Mini's going to lose those 2 Zealots very, very fast. Hides these 2 behind the tree. They start making a fire, and they're trying to make some bacon and eggs. But unfortunately, the Lings stopped them from making their bacon and eggs and turned them into Zealot meat. Goodbye, boys. Thanks for coming. Alright, so Corsair comes... Whoopsie. Wow, mouse had a spasm. Too much whiskey. Alright, so in comes the Corsair and goes, okay, well, looks like you're just doing the old Scourge build, are ya? There's the Spire. If I stay here and I insist on getting this kill, I may well end my own life, Mr. Corsair Pilot, especially if the Scourge are on these eggs. Hello. Oh my god. That was so funny. It was just a combination of the evil laugh that came over me for some reason and the fact that that was just so predictable. Just saw that coming a mile away. And yet it still amused the crap out of me. You know? Oh, that was good. I like that one. Yeah, it's very funny. Anyway. Enough yabbering. We're getting some cannons. Where are we making cannons? Making a cannon here and I'm in a line. Making a couple of cannons here and I'm in a line. So we're getting a feeling that there's mutas. But how many gases did we see? We saw 2 gases. And that was the signal. And no hydrogen. So 2 gases. No, oh, there's the hydrogen. And this Corsairs would have probably scouted that. But just having a sneaky feeling that he would be vulnerable because he lost the Corsair. He would be vulnerable to mutilous harassment. Does get the cannons up, does our friend Mini. And these overlords are just absolutely sprinting, man. But they just had too much tequila last night, so that's as fast as they can go. Alright, so we have 6 or 7 Mulists with their Scourge compadres supporting them. Mini's like, okay, well, I'm going to send my Zealots around a little bit. Probably to buy some time. More Scourge coming across the map. They were just sort of scout Scourges, if that's a thing. Like Lonely Ling over here. Hey, Larry the Ling, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm just standing here because that's what I was told to do. What do you want me to do? Zealot comes in and goes, okay, you have more hatcheries than a sunken. I'm going to go home now. Bye. I run really fast. I do like 200 miles of cardio a day. Really, really fit. I just basically eat protein, and that's why I look this good. What are we going to do? Well, I know what we're going to try and do, but what are we going to get done with it? Ah! You zealots just running around, exercising on fighting spirit. Yeah, but our Corsair pilots are like, I'll show you. Oh, really? Well, my Scourge will show you. Run! So everybody retreats to the safety of the cannons. Rabbit Roo is feeling like an absolute goof today for some reason, but it's fun. I've got a 44-minute game in my replay pack, and I'm wondering, am I going to find the energy to be able to do that today? I mean, when games are that long, there's so many dead patches and so many ebbs and flows. But yeah, man, if I don't do it today, I don't know when I will do it. So we will see. We will see. I won't spoil who it is and what have you. And thankfully, YouTube is very unepisodic. So you can say something like, hey, I'm going to cast this next week. But the amount of continuity you have between when people watch something is so low that it actually doesn't matter. But yeah. Let's go. I like this game for Mini. I would just like to see... Okay. He's got plenty of gateways. He's got everything he needs, really. Maybe a few Dragoons? I'd like to see him add a few Dragoons to his composition and then just go out and fight and take a third. That's what we want to see as if we're Protoss fans. If we're Zerg fans, we want to see High Templars die to Mutalists. Which is what we saw, but my god, did that cost him a lot of Mutalists. There were 7 Mutalists in there, so that was 700 gas, 700 minerals in exchange for 2 High Templars. Worth it? I don't know. We just saw Jaedong win, and he nuked all his Mutalists, but he had a whole thwap of Hydras waiting in the wings to take advantage of that. So I guess it depends on execution. Conceptually, it's probably sound, but how good was the execution of that? That's probably the question. Here are all those Hydras, so perhaps they were in the game, and the Hydras are going to move forward because of the number of... The Overlords, I beg your pardon, are going to move forward because of the number of Corsairs to be protected by the Hydras, and none are going to sort of just be straying here, except one, because you don't want a stray DT to come in and wreck all your drones while you're not watching. Okay, so we're building up to a bit of a patch of excitement, I think. Although these Zealots have just stopped. Okay, now they're moving again. And here come the Dragoons. I said please have some Dragoons, and now he does, so thank you. The Zealots are out here. I don't see any observers with this army, and I suppose because the Zerg was very Muta heavy in the beginning, he's probably not got money for lurkers. And as I say that, he morphs in 4 lurkers, so I'm just a total buffoon. But I do not now also I see the observer for the first time in the production tab. So delays on production. Look at this morphing to block coming up the ramp like a boss. Unfortunately, Mini's gonna have to find another way. Okay, so the observers do join the party all of a sudden. I must have missed him in the production tab a bit earlier. Jeez, like he made mince of those lurkers there. That was really, really fast. A couple of free overlords here for luck. Zealots are running ahead. You probably want your Dragoons to lead here, if I'm honest, but decides, nope, I don't want to go this way. I'm actually just going to try and bust down the front door, if you don't mind letting me in. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through. No real flank to speak of, although as I say that, a whole shitload of Zealots just get picked off by these Hydras. There's not enough storm, so Mini's got a nice thwack of army, but he's got no storm. And so the Hydras are really trading well here. Though the Goons picking off the lurkers. There's probably enough of them, but nope. There's just too much reinforcing power from the Zerg. Bit of decent micro. Lurker's burrowing in good spots, and he's got to run with his tail between his legs going, damn it, I left my storm at home. Where's my storm gone? Yeah, mate, I think you're gonna get chowed now. I think the more that I watch this matchup, the more I'm forming the view that Protoss has got very, very low margin of error in terms of overextension. So you attack, you trade well, you kill a lot of stuff, but you lose all your high Templars, and then you're dead on the counter. Or, you know, something to that effect. You have to really understand when to overextend. You can attack and you can be like, oh my god, I've killed the whole natural, and then as you're about to, Zerg flanks you from the other side, and then all your shit dies. So it's just, sometimes it feels like this match is impossible for Protoss, and good Zergs make it feel like that. But you'll ask Zergs who play on the ladder, oh my god, Protosses are so abusive and make this game feel impossible for them. So I think the game is obviously very well balanced and matched, but watching it at this level recently, I've just felt like Zergs are just getting so good. They're just really, really punishing any mistake Protosses make. So 122 plays 118, and this Zerg's got about 20 drones, 4 bases. He's looking to try and establish a 5th up here probably. And I don't like our chances for Mini. He does have 3 Templars with his army this time. Just gone up here to confirm that the Zerg doesn't have any bases. Meanwhile, our Zerg's done a little squadron of counter-attacking. Slightly whiffed that storm, unfortunately, and lost the High Templar. Loses the other High Templar. Stop losing your High Templars, Mini! No! He lost 3 High Templars there. He got 1 storm off among the 3 High Templars, and it killed probably 4 Hydras. That's just a bloody disaster. If our Zerg pulls the trigger here, then Mini's just gonna die. It's got a lot of observers though, so lurkers are not going to be unseen, that's for sure. Okay, so are we flanking? Let's see, we got Hydras here, we got Hydras here, a couple of lurkers as well. 139 plays 120. Doesn't maybe have enough army supply. That's the one thing I'll say about the Zerg. He's got heaps of drones, but does he actually have enough army? That's a good storm. I can see that he's got 1 High Templar with his army, but that's kind of done a fair amount of damage. There. Oh, that's a 2nd storm from the same High Templar. He's done really well here. He's got really good trades because the High Templar managed to get 2 storms off. He does die now. But I think there's just a little bit too much Protoss here. Morphs in a few more lurker eggs, but this is just not enough Hydras. And reinforcements coming from the side is Lings, it isn't Hydras. The goon numbers are thinning out. The Lings should really help though. Here they come. Oh no, Lings are the nemesis of Dragoons. Okay, so he does tidy this up. And Mini actually taps. He taps very, very abruptly, but he decided... I think it's because he doesn't have a 3rd base. I'm sorry, I don't normally do this, but I'm just going to rewind a tiny bit just to check something. Alright, it takes a little while to reload, but that's fine. Okay, so he does have a 3rd base. So that isn't the reason. So let's play this again. Okay, so he's getting in here. And he's got 138 to 114. He has gone up here and probably detected that the Zerg has established a 5th base up there. The High Templar dying is painful, but it doesn't mean it's over. The Lings that are about to come down here do finish off these remaining goons. I just wanted to confirm there was nothing else happening except that he established another base and decided that he was just too far behind. That Zerg just had too many bases, probably 5 basing versus 3. But was it over? I mean, let me know in the comments. We covered 2 PVZs, Jaedong versus Best, and Chosmla Zerg versus Mini, who is a very, very highly rated Protoss. Protoss is losing on both occasions, making me, an avid Protoss enthusiast, very sad. But anyway, I had a lot of fun bringing it to you. I'm Rabbit Roo, And if you enjoyed hanging out with me, then please do subscribe to the channel. I'm a regular casual Brood War caster. It was heaps of fun hanging out with you today. And I'll see you again soon, man. Take it easy. Ciao.